Welcome to the Contractors Secret Weapon Radio Podcast, the show dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, and others in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over their competition. Get ready for some inspiration, some encouragement, some proven business building strategies, and a couple of new ideas that can take your business to the next level and beyond. And now, broadcasting from the Contractors Secret Weapon Studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dave Negri.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're listening to this. As Dave Negri, your co-host with Contractors Secret Weapon.
And this is Pete Mitchell, your other Contractor Secret Weapon co-host. I almost said your other contractor, but I'm not a contractor.
You're the co-host.
That's right.
So today I want to talk about, and I guess the best way to do it is are you making it hard for your customer to do business with you because you gave them too much information or too many choices? Let's go there. So let me explain what happened. The other day, my daughter's air conditioning broke, which is no big deal this time of year, but it is because it broke. I don't know if the heater went, but that's neither here nor there. So we called the guy, and somebody I know very well. As a matter of fact, he installed my air conditioning. That's why she called him. And they came out to do, to find out what's wrong with it. The Freon was down, but he found a little leak in the coil. So he said, well, why don't we can do a couple different things. I'm going to put Freon in so that at least we'll see how long it takes for it to leak out. And we can order another coil, which at that point, I think it was like $1,800. That was in him installing it, but there's no warranty. And the system was 12 years old. So I got my daughter on the phone, and she goes, we talked a three-way call and on speakerphone. And, he explains all this to her. She goes, okay, that's great, but why don't you just give me a price, give me a proposal for a whole new system. It's 12 years old. It may last another 2 or 3. I'm not going to stick $1,800. Makes sense. So he sends the proposal to my daughter. She sends it to me, and she goes, Dad, can you help me with this? And I look at it and I go, nope. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't understand a freaking thing on this proposal.
Right.
He's got it written out by hand, which is a lot of work, but that's neither here nor there. He's got a price, and then he's got 2 columns down the side with 2 different manufacturers, and then he's got a 15 SEER, a 15 and a half SEER, 16 and a half SEER, and they all have different prices. And I'm going, honestly, it doesn't mean anything to me, other than the fact that I'm like most people, I see more than I want to see. It gets confusing. I just want to rip it up and throw it away.
Right.
But because, my daughter asked me, and I know the guy, so I can give him a call and find out what's going on. So I called him, and I said, listen, I'm looking at this proposal, and I understand the look of it. So I said, and his first response, please, everybody, listen to this. His first response was, I have a cheaper manufacturer, but I've never done business with them. I said, stop. I'm not looking for cheap. I just want you to explain what we've got here. I don't want to add another decision into the mix because I'm a frustrated.
In financial planning, when I used to sell financial planning, we used to say, people think one day out of every year. What makes you think the day you're talking to them is the day they're actually thinking?
Right.
Don't make it hard for people. It's either yes or no, or even better, do you want option A or do you want option B? Do you want, supersized or, just deluxe? Yeah. Make it easy.
So I've got these 7 prices, seven prices. And I'm going, man, I don't, and it's really not about the price. It's about, what am I getting? What's it worth? What's the value? So I said to him, I said, I said, can you explain this to me so I can understand it? He goes, I said, is it, the 15 SEER, the 15 and a half? I said, those are energy ratings. He goes, yeah. I said, okay. I said, I think mine's 15. And honestly, my electric bill got cut in half with the new system. So I'm all for, stuff like that. It's going to pay for itself in 5 years. So I said, now explain to me the difference in the manufacturers. So he said, well, this one's a very good one, and it's anybody can work on it, and it's very good. As a matter of fact, that's what you have. I said, yeah. I said, I have that. That's fine. And he said, and this other one is, the top of the line. It's a little more expensive. I said, well, what makes it worth being more expensive? So he tells me, and I go, okay, so in reality, Dean, the more expensive one is cheaper. What? I said, yeah, because the one that I have in my house is going to last 10, 11 years. This one is going to last 15 years before it starts to lose its efficiency. So the more expensive one is cheaper. That's how you need to sell it.
Right.
For a year, it's costing you $150 a year less to have the more expensive one in your house. Oh, I never thought of that. but you got to think about these things. And one of the things that I should not have had to call him. You should have called and said, is there anything that needs to be explained on the proposal?
Right.
Because, and here's one of the things that we, all of us in every industry, don't think about is that we have our own language.
Yeah.
So when you're writing your language out and it's common everyday, usage to you, but you got to bring it down and make it explainable to your customer because you speak your language.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that because, it's funny. I was listening to a bunch of podcasts because I had to do this long drive, as you know, out to Phoenix and back. I'm in Southern California. And so I had, all this time on my hands. So I started listening to podcasts, and I'm listening to this one, and the guy's talking about sales is a contact sport. The more contacts you make, the more sales you make. And that also means the more contacts you make with the same person, the better chance you have of selling them to begin with or selling them more stuff, right? So it's not just more
absolutely.
People. It's a contact sport. Make contacts. And one of the ideas that I've heard before, and it was so funny, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, that's exactly what I need to do. So we've been running, Facebook ads, things like that. So we've got this thing up at cswsolution.com. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to know more about this contractor secret weapon solution, head on over to cswsolution.com, go through the funnel, check it out. And here's what's going to happen the next time this happens. When someone opts in to get the 9 steps that we give people, our 9 steps to improving their business, doubling their profits, I've now set up the system to send me a text. And it says, Dave Negri at this phone number just opted in to get the 9 steps. So then what I'm going to do is on my phone, wherever I am, open up my YouTube app, click the record button. Hey, Dave, I'm out here at Disneyland right now. I saw you just opted in to get the 9 steps. Boy, you're going to love that 9-step thing. It can be a game changer for your business. I've got a great little video where I explain a little bit more on the 9 steps. You've probably already watched it. And then if you want to set a time, I am happy to get on the phone and see how we can apply this to you and your business. And then you send them that as a text. So now I'm just sending you a personalized video message. Personalized. So it wasn't some generic thing that's been sent out to everybody. I actually saw that you opted in and I cared enough to respond back to you. Imagine the impact that would make. So in your scenario, what if this guy had, sent something like that, just a quick little video. Hey, I just sent you the proposal. I know it can be kind of confusing because there's a lot of terms on there that you're not as familiar with as I am. So here's what I want to do. I want to set up a time to go over this with you. Boom. Send me a text back when it'll be convenient for you. And there you go. Right? Something really simple, no pressure. And I'm like, so all these ads that we're running, we got all these people opting in. Why don't I do that? Why don't I make that extra contact? I mean, because I think the impression is, wow, that's impressive.
Well, yeah, and I was just thinking about that. A lot of times in today, getting a hold of somebody on the phone is almost impossible.
Yeah,
and I said,
especially if they just opted into something, they're like, oh.
Well, but even if they didn't, let's say that I sent out a proposal and my software says that they opened it.
Right.
So what if I send them later on in the day? Say, hey, listen, I noticed you opened a proposal. I'm glad to see you did that. I didn't want to call you, but I just want to thank you for doing that. Is there any questions that you might have? Just, give me a call at your convenience.
Right.
Instead of me nagging them. So now I've opened up the door. But I can use that for my painting business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy not to.
But I mean, imagine that impression, right? If they're shopping and talking to other people, you don't compare with anyone else.
No, not at that point. No, you've there again, you've raised your hands above the crowd.
Yeah. And I mean, with today's technology, with your iPhones, you don't need, like, they've got all these programs that people will sell you, X amount for this, and it'll send a video and an email and all. Dude, YouTube, right? It's YouTube. Yeah. It's free already. Record it, copy the link, put it in your text, send it to them. Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really easy. Very, very easy to do that.
Whoa.
So yeah, that's I love what you're talking about though. Why do people make it so hard to give you money or give them money?
Yeah, just another. Yeah, it's because we don't think. We just we're thinking in our own languages, and that's
it
can be challenging.
Well, and I got this sign over here on my wall. It says always two conversations to remind me there's always two conversations going on. There's a conversation going on in your head. There's a conversation going on in their head. They are never the same. And we always assume it. So we project our conversation, what our self-talk is, we're projecting that onto our prospects. And so, we're thinking, like this guy was thinking, oh, it's price, right? Oh, they're going to worry about price. Everybody worries about price. I worry about, right? And so he's projecting that on you. And you're like, look, no, I don't care about the price. Explain this to me, right? Totally different conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of that new book that I sent over to you from that.
Right.
He talks about, he goes, when we go into a sales situation, we don't take the time to find out what do they want. We know what we got to sell, but what do they want?
Right. Yeah. No, it's funny, right? Because so I went out to Phoenix yesterday. There's a guy by the name of Joe Polish. He's one of the biggest guys in marketing. And I'm part of his Genius Network mastermind. It's a high price $25,000 a year program just to be a member. You get to go see him twice a year. I mean, how's that for $25,000, right? And it's totally worth it too, which is kind of great. And I've got this great texting platform, and his staff needs help with their texting because they've got texting, but it doesn't work and it doesn't integrate.
Oh, wow.
So I volunteered to drive out there and sit down with his staff and go through it for something that I already gave them for free, right? I'm not making any money off of selling him the texting platform. I'd already given it to him for free. Now, I did this because I want to do a joint venture with Joe Polish, and so I know if I do stuff like this, he's going to be impressed. So I get out there. I sit down with their director of marketing and the number 2 gal, the one who controls all of his schedules and stuff like that. And what's the first thing I do? Tell me, what are you using texting for right now? And they go through everything. And I go, okay, now, if you can wave a magic wand over your texting what would you want to be able to do? And that's when I got the list of everything that they would be like their dream situation.
Yeah.
Ironically, my system does almost all of it.
Cool.
There was like one feature that I didn't have, and I was like, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, so you get it built in, right? You get it built in.
But that's like you said, right? You got to find out, what do they actually want? And by the way, guys, yeah, Joe was actually so impressed. He shows up and he's like, man, you drove all the way out here? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I want to do a joint venture with you. And I'm like, hallelujah. Hallelujah. He says it to me, right? I don't even have to approach him.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Even now you can buy groceries next week.
Yeah, I know, right? Woohoo! So, yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that insight. And I think the big takeaway is, remember, there's always two conversations, and don't make it hard for people to give you money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Limit your choices. There's a restaurant near here called Colonel Mustard's. I don't know if it's a chain or what it is. I'd never been in there, so one day I walk in it, and I'm not kidding. Like, there are so many items all over the place. I was like, I literally turned around and walked out. I'm like, I can't deal with that many food options.
Yeah.
At what is clearly not a good eatery. Like, it looked better on the outside, and the second I walked in, I'm seeing all these choices. I'm like, forget it, man. I'm not interested in that. You look at In-N-Out Burger. I don't know if they have those out where you are, but it's like, we got a cheeseburger, we got a hamburger, we got a double, we got a shake,
yeah,
fries, and Coke.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, we've got something similar. I'm not sure if we do have In-N-Outs here, but we do have a burger place, and it's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
we got a burger, we got a double burger. And then we got homemade fries, we got drinks, and then there's a gazillion things you can put on it.
Okay.
Yeah. You want mustard, pickles, ketchup, whatever you want. Just like a double burger. I want a small burger, big burger, or I want, they even have hot dogs, which is okay. And then they make homemade fries. And that's it. Each store does about $1.5 million a year.
That's awesome.
That's a lot of burgers.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It ain't cheap, but who is?
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end this one right there because I've actually got a call coming up here that I need to go get ready for. But appreciate your time, Dave.
All right, cool.
And we'll be back. Take care, everybody.
Super. Have a great week, everybody.